Hello, welcome to a very early preview of Inspiro. Inspiro is a general purpose low code platform built specifically for DDD and event storming practitioners. What we aim to provide is a mechanism for you to capture your event storming sessions in a digital format using diagrams. And um, then eventually take those diagrams and turn them into code. So I'm going to try pretty much fly through this tutorial just to give you a general sense of what the product is like and stuff. And there's a lot of concepts that we'll follow up with more tutorials that we'll add later, which dives into the concepts a little bit deeper. You could also have a look at some of the external resources we've got listed here, which kind of explains what event storming really is, what DDD is, and why it's important. So let me dive straight in. So basically, you can sign up for free, and at the moment, all you basically need is an email address if you want to use a email address password type sign-in flow, or you can sign in with your current Google account. So that's what I'm going to do now. So once we've signed in, we can go to the diagrams section over here, and we can basically start a new diagram. We will have a few templates that you can work from. At the moment, these need to be improved a bit, but so I'm just going to start with the new blank diagram. And basically what you need to do is give it a name that's easy for you and your team to understand and so on. So I'm going to be designing just a very small portion of e-commerce platform because everyone seems to understand that those concepts quite well. So so you can just give it a name and some description you and your team will be able to understand. Okay, and we can auto-generate a thumbnail image from the diagrams you draw, or you can replace this with image that with a URL to any image on the internet. So I'm just going to leave it with the auto-generated thing, and we create a diagram. Okay, then to edit our diagram, we're going to just click in over here, and it'll take us to the editor. We've also got some other options where we can change the metadata, which is effectively the name and the address, name and description. We can have a look at the different revisions of the diagram that we've built over time, and we can generate code. We'll eventually be able to share the diagram with other people, and we can obviously delete it. So I'm just going to edit for now. So I'm going to really fly through this process because, like I said, it deserves a lot more time, and I think this video is going to be pretty long as it is. So basically what we'll be doing now is capturing the event storming session. Now this will probably happen in a number of phases between the business users. You'll get a meeting together on Zoom or MS Teams or whatever your video conference tool is, and you'll have one person who's the facilitator for that meeting, and they'll effectively be drawing out what people are discussing, right? So how that'll basically go is that you'll capture all the, let me just jump back to this diagram, our examples here. There's basically a language around event storming, and you'll, so there's very small explanation needed from the facilitator as to how that language fits together. But these are basically all the building blocks you'll need to be able to build a really complex system. So there are certain users in your system, which would be, persona, actor, or whatever. They can perform certain actions. And then from those actions, events will happen, which are basically facts that are, will be recorded in the system. And from those facts, you can actually take certain policy decisions. If certain things happen, then do something else. And from those facts as well, or the events, information is generated. And then that information is displayed on a screen of some sort, some user interface. And this is pretty much all you need to be able to design a really complex system. And I think a lot of people would be able to understand this pretty quickly. So jumping back to the diagram quickly. So how we might start something like this is we can think about, what are the things that would happen, let's say in an e-commerce domain where we'll have different parts of a business really that are going to be in that domain. So you'll have a sales part of your business, and you'll have maybe the warehouse part, and a purchasing department, and so on. So for this example, I'm just going to focus on mainly let's say, a very small part of what would be happening in the warehouse, right? Now, just to keep it as brief as possible, but you've effectively got an infinite canvas here, so you can draw as much as you want and capture your entire business, really. So basically how this works is we're going to record the events that happen in a flow from left to right as a convention, but you can do whatever you want. And so just to start, we'll have maybe, let's think of some of the events that would happen. So in a warehouse, you're going to mainly be storing a bunch of products, right? So you'll start by effectively dragging these objects onto your canvas. You can just hover over each of them to actually see what the object is for. So like this is an event or a fact, however you want to call it. That's an action. You can have a policy and aggregates, which is a little bit more complex, domains and contexts. So to start with, we'll be in the, our domain is basically e-commerce. I'm just going to make this bigger. So, and zoom in. We won't need this description for now. So just call this e-commerce. Okay. And within our domain, we've got effectively a context that we're going to be working in. We're going to have, let's say, our sales context, which we're not going to look at for now. So I'm just going to kind of stick it in the corner here. Okay. We'll have our warehouse context. Again, I'm just not going to worry about the descriptions for now. And let's just keep it simple. We'll have some more space here. And let's just say our purchasing department. Okay. So let's jump into our warehouse. And if we think about what are the things that are the actions that a warehouse controller, I guess, would, so let's capture that. So we got let's line this up nicely. We've got our warehouse controller. So that's a role that someone would effectively be playing, right? And the things that they can do, just to keep things simple, is they are going to be able to receive products, right? So the actions need to be a verb. So we're going to be by convention. So we're going to receive products. Okay. And effectively, those actions are then going to trigger a fact to happen or an event. Just by convention, there's kind of generally speaking, a reciprocal nature to these things. So this would now be recorded in the past tense. So now we're going to recorded as product received. Okay, and you can kind of write these in just how you would normally write things in English, right? So just to speed things along, and these things are, you can kind of record that this is going to trigger this and so on, right? So you can draw out your process so it just makes sense. Okay, and other things that would happen is, oh, and then it's this person that's able, come on, draw, able to do these things. Come on. Okay, and actually it won't be this. Let's say someone in sales would trigger, I'm not going to draw all of it, but your sales process would trigger an action where you can actually ship out your product. So we're going to ship the product now, okay, which will trigger an event to happen, which is basically saying product shipped, right? Now, it doesn't have to be perfectly reciprocal. So you could actually have multiple things happen here. So as well as shipping out the products, we might actually also want to know when our stock is running low. So let's say, for instance, we shipped out pretty much one of the last few products and there's only 3 left in stock or something like that. We would also want to then raise an event saying something like product stock is low or something like that. Okay. And just for us humans, we'll kind of draw these things like this, right? And you can already see this isn't purely a kind of a CRUD type system, so you're actually able to build much richer systems than you would traditionally speaking. So one of the other things we can do perhaps is maybe do like a stock take or something like that. Now this could be purely outside of the computer system, and it could be done completely manually. But we can still draw it as part of what our business process really looks like, right? And we'd then also raise a different type of event here, saying maybe products, the product was adjusted or something like that, right? Products levels were adjusted. And then you can obviously account for missing stock and all that type of stuff, right? Now, what's interesting with this approach is that we can kind of have events trigger processes in a different part of your company, or in effectively a different context. Okay, so what we could do is we could have a policy. So we can shrink this a bit now, saying that. So I'm going to grab a policy object here, and I can say that when the stock is low, well, call this reorder when the stock is low, right, is our policy. And that's going to be triggered by one or more events. And effectively what will happen is that will then issue a command, right? And that command could be in the same context you're working in, or it could be in a different context. So just for this, it's going to be in our purchasing context. Okay, and we're going to just call it order stock, right? Now, I know this is a very, very quick intro to all of this and maybe a little bit confusing, but this is the general thing of what will happen. You kind of draw out a pretty picture. I think a lot of people would be able to understand what's going on here. and it's easy to talk about from a business perspective as well as from a technical perspective. Most people will be able to understand what's going on. So just to um, and then obviously save, right? So basically our domain is the e-commerce domain. We have three contexts here: sales, warehouse, and purchasing. Oh, I forgot something. So this is all to do with products, right, in our warehouse. So we actually want to capture that as an aggregate, which is basically a transaction boundary. And we want to put things in here. So we don't need all of this. Just get rid of some of the stuff just to keep things simple. And our aggregate here, we can just call it product. Okay. And all of this stuff really belongs in there. Actually, maybe not that policy. Okay. And okay, I'm not going to worry about lining things up now. It's not that important. So we've got product aggregate. And yeah, that's basically it, right? So if we save this again, what we can do then is go to our code generator, either through the link over here, or we can access it from this drop-down menu over here. So say generate code. We basically, that'll let us pick the diagram or automatically pick the diagram. We could later on then pick any revision you want. And then we can choose a template. Now, I'm going to start with a few C# templates. One of them being around the clean architecture way of structuring your projects and so on, which will be an event sourced, will be an event-driven CQRS type pattern that we follow. Shortly after, we'll be doing event sourced pattern. But soon after this, we also have to get to doing Kotlin and Java and pretty much any other language that will be popular enough. So, and it doesn't have to be programming languages only. We could also do generate markdown documentation or anything that you can really represent in the text format can be generated. So I'm just going to pick the first template over here, and we hit generate code. And after that runs, we can then download a zip file, which is going to have our code in it, right? So download the zip file, and we can close this now. We're kind of finished with the website. And if we go look for the download, we'll just unzip this on our computer, and obviously it would be good to now stick it into source control and all that type of stuff. But this is what has been generated for us. We'll run this final step over here just to generate one last little file for us. Now this is building up a Visual Studio solution, which just make it easier for us to interact with the projects. So we can just open this up now. So this will be on the developer's machine now. One of your developers would effectively open this up now. And what's been generated is all the boilerplate code you'll need to create a secure application. In this case, a Blazor website and a couple of microservices. So if we have a look at the projects that have been generated, it's all of these over here. And if we just have a quick look, if we had to do this manually, it would have required 117 files, which is quite a bit of work. That is already now done for you, right? So you don't have to do all of this stuff, right? The developers will then only need to really come and put in the smart logic of what must happen when we receive a product. What does that really mean? But all the boilerplate is done for you, and we can effectively just spin up some of these just to give you a taste for what's happening here. So this is now actually compiling, hopefully, and should spin up a website. And we've also got two APIs, two microservices that have been, three, sorry, for the APIs that have been generated as well. So just to give you a quick glimpse into what they look like. So here's a really simple website. Obviously, the developers will have to go and make this look pretty and so on, but it's a jumping off point, and you'll kind of see um, the commands or the actions that we're taking that we're specifying in the diagram have come through here. So we'll see receive product, ship product, perform a stock take, and so on, right? And if we go to purchasing, we'll have order stock. And these are just test pages so that you can actually just see what you need to do. And if we have a look at if you were to click into this code, let me just try get to one of those quickly. Let's say this ship product. I'm going to just debug into this now. So if I click here, it executes this code, and here you'll actually, specify. You'll be able to grab things from the UI and put it into a command and send the command onto a bus, and then effectively that command will end up in an API backend. So just to show you one of the backends quickly. So I know this is getting a bit long already, but let's say the warehouse backend. If we spin up that API, let's have a look at what that looks like. So obviously this is it's HTTP APIs. There isn't really a UI, but we have a Swagger definition, which is open API way of representing that API. So we can actually go have a look at what that would look like from a technical perspective. And what you can see here are the actions. These are all on the product, and you can receive a product, ship a product, perform a stock take, and so on. So this is all generated for you, and all the security and stuff like that is done here. So even junior developers would be able to create a proper API and microservice and so on. Okay, and yeah, that's basically a whirlwind tour of where this product is right now, and hoping to expand on this quite a lot and improve it quite a lot in the next few weeks. So please stay tuned. Thank you very much. All right.